We have reached October in the USL Championship. It's the month where the regular season ends, and this month's regular season action begins here at Lynn Family Stadium as Louisville City FC hosts Miami FC. Happy to have you with us this evening. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. Take a look at the standings here. Miami already eliminated. Louisville, they can with a win tonight and a win on the weekend against Indy clinch the Players' Shield already. And while there's a gulf between these two teams in the standings, Ricky, it wasn't so the last time they met. Miami pushed them to the brink.
It was a really competitive match for Miami FC and Lou City. We're talking to Danny Cruz, and he said, look, we left into the last 10 minutes, and Sean Tosh was able to give us all 3 points from a pen from 12 yards out. But I do think the main point of emphasis for Lou City here at home at Lynn Family Stadium is killing this game early. That first goal is going to be everything here tonight.
And this Louisville team can set a couple of records, obviously this season, as historic as it's been, but specifically tonight. Everything belonging to that 2019 Phoenix Rising side. They could take down the home wins and the home goals here tonight.
Speaking to Danny Cruz, we asked him about the records and how close they are writing history. And he said, look, the records are nice for everything, but we have our eyesight on something bigger, the USL Championship at the end of this 2024 season.
Phoenix Rising, don't forget, he was quick to point out that 2019 team did not win the title when all was said and done. He's happy with the records. They're nice adjectives to a title if you win it, but if you don't win it, everybody tends to forget. Now, one thing you cannot forget about is this player, tonight's player profile presented by Commonwealth Credit Union, Wilson Harris, with 17 goals on the season.
You see the goals, but what impresses me about Wilson Harris is everything he does before the ball arrives, playing off the blind side, those darting runs, creating his own space in around that 18-yard box. I do think the question for Lou City and Wilson Harris is, what does the service look like against him? Because he's shown he can be a star in the USL Championship.
Now, on the other side, for this Miami FC side, as great as it's been at home for Louisville, it's been equally as bad on the road for Miami.
If you're Antonio Nocerino, the message to your boys is what an opportunity this is to get your first win on the road against the best team in the league. Expect this Miami FC side to be confident and motivated. First 10 to 15 minutes going to be really important for the visiting side.
And one of the bright spots this year for Miami has been Alan Gavilanes with 5 goals.
He plays on the left-hand side, can play on the right-hand side, but he's going to look to combine with the players around him. I do think if you're Antonio Nocerino and Miami FC have any hopes of stealing all 3 points, Alan Gavilanes has to be the best player on your team.
This Louisville City FC side, again, has a number of records in its sight. Tonight could be a historic evening as they welcome Miami FC. But the visitors tonight hoping to play spoiler. It's Louisville City and Miami FC next on ESPN+.
Son returns. The older brother, who's been away from the family for over 1,000 days, is back. A little bolder, more sophisticated, stronger yet leaner. The all-new Land Cruiser resumes its place alongside the new, more dynamic Tacoma, the powerful Tundra, the legendary 4Runner, and the full-size adventuring Sequoia to reunite Toyota's 5 brothers. The family that plays together stays together. Toyota, let's go places.
Gentlemen, are you enjoying it right now, Louisville Live?
You ready to lose?
Oh, you wish. Let's go.
It's time to power up your old checking account. That's why Commonwealth Credit Union created Power Checking. This incredible all-in-one account powers your spending and with built-in high-yield savings, grows your balance at the same time. No minimums, no limits, just unparalleled benefits.
Best 2 out of 3.
Let's go.
Get to the next level with Power Checking, only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
How do you get your news?
Is WDRB the soundtrack to your morning routine?
Or you can scroll on the go with the WDRB News app.
If you've already cut the cord, start streaming our news on WDRB+.
Maybe you like to read a more in-depth story and you use WDRB.com.
When weather's the biggest story of your day, the WDRB Weather app has video forecasts and radar.
However you choose to get your news, WDRB is the source.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you enjoying it right now, Louisville Live?
Players making their way out onto the field at Lynn Family Stadium. Let's meet the 22 who will begin this game. The lineup is absolutely loaded for this Louisville City FC side. On any given day, they run too deep any position. They basically have two 11s, but this is the group he picks tonight.
Three-back, Adams, Sharpie, and Tosh. What does that look like in terms of their structure? How compact can they be? And then you have Jake Morris and Manny Perez on either side. Their work rate to create overloads on the attacking phase of the game. And Davila and Wanya, look for them to dictate tempo and play the speed that Danny Cruz wants to play. Wilson Harris will spearhead the attack.
Now on this Miami FC side for Antonio Nocerino, it looks like this.
It's going to be a lot of fluidity. Desart and Bota, they'll be the mainstays as they want to sit right in front of that back three to have that security shield. Molina, Galeanis, and Joseph. What does that look like in terms of testing the shape? Like I said earlier, Joe, I do think the first 10 to 15 minutes, how quickly can this side get in a rhythm for Miami FC?
And that's something, again, that Danny Cruz attested to in our conversation. If you look at this Miami FC team, despite the record, they're very compact. They're very tough to break down. There's a lot of one-goal games, and the longer that it goes as a tie game or a one-goal game, the more difficult it becomes to break through them. The goal is to score early, and then from there, often. Now, easier said than done, of course. It'll be Louisville in their purple from left to right, Miami in their orange from right to left. Referee in charge tonight, Thomas Snyder, in the green. 2-1 Louisville win back in June. Did not score until the 84th minute to pick up the victory. Miami FC giving them that tough test. They also just took first place New Mexico to the brink in a 1-0 game. They're not an easy out, despite what the record says. On a night where Louisville can set the home wins and home goals record in USL Championship history, we are underway from Lynn Family Stadium. Happy to have you along with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. It's interesting for Danny Cruz. Feels one of the weaknesses for Louisville this season has been games that have become shootouts. You've seen some 6-4, 5-3, some really crazy score lines. A lot of those coming at home because of how much they want to push the envelope and how expansive they get. At the same token, that's what he wants to see tonight, because if you jump on this Miami team early, they open up. If you don't, it becomes tighter. So it has been their Achilles heel at times at home if you're going to pick a weakness in a team that is on its way to a lot of records. But that's exactly what he wants them to do tonight.
So now how do you do that with balance? That's going to be the really top priority for this Louisville City side, because you do not want to overextend yourself. Because like we said, Joe, this Miami FC side, they do have talent on the front line. You look at Joseph Galeanis and Bota, all of these players that can produce a little bit of individual brilliance. So now you're looking at Davila and Winder. You want them to dictate tempo. When it's time to go, how quickly can you make this a transitional game?
Sean Tosh, 27th start of the season. All-league player 4 straight years here in USL Championship. 3 straight years first team. Last year dropped to the second team. By his lofty standards, a weak year last year, but anchoring once again one of the top back lines in the league this season. Tosh bringing it forward. Harris, he's tripped up, and a free kick coming from a really dangerous spot here early on for Louisville.
Not even 2 minutes in, you just see Miami FC have all 11 players behind the ball. So now how do you make the field as big as possible so you can open up gaps like this? I'll tell you what, really close as Cardona loses his feet, catches the right heel of Wilson Harris. Good opportunity here for Louisville City to ask questions of Gagliardi.
Gagliardi making his 13th start this season. Focus on the save percentage for him. The back line has leaked at times. The goals against average 2.33, but over a 60% save percentage as he contests this 5th third bank free kick. It's been a big shot stopper for them at times. Is this one on goal from Davila, or is it a service? With Serrano also presenting the right-footed option.
I think you're looking at that back post area, especially with the traffic oncoming. Any sort of deflection, it's a nightmare for Gagliardi.
It will be Davila going near post. He almost snuck it through. Tried to catch Gagliardi napping. Sprung into action with a great save at his near post to keep it scoreless early.
Give credit to the goalkeeper, how quickly he comes across, and there's a little bit of spillage, but give credit yet again to the secondary movement of Marana, because if he's not there, most likely it's 1-0 Louisville City. Good effort from Davila.
You can see on that West Banco replay. And if that ball goes anywhere else on the rebound, it is probably 1-0 Louisville. We'll take a look at the weather report tonight, brought to you by Advanced ENT. In our first matchup of October here in the USL Championship, it feels like October. Clear night, 71 degrees, beautiful sunset in the distance here at Lynn Family Stadium. It does not get better than this. Sky showed out tonight, huh? You got the orange on the bottom, purple on top. Lou City, Miami, purple, orange.
There you go.
There you go. Any Clemson fans watching as well will enjoy that sky. Louisville's first 20 minutes against Memphis over the weekend, as crazy as it gets, really. Ended up falling behind. 2-goal deficit in the early stages on a night where Danny Cruz was really happy with the intensity right away, but structurally it was all wrong early on. Response was great, resilience of the group shined through, but they're hoping to pair the two things together, the structure and the intensity in the early stages tonight. There's been times this year, again, as good as the record has been for Louisville, there's been times where one thing or the other is out of whack, and those games get crazy. Think of the 6-4, 10-goal game at North Carolina, but still, they're usually emerging victorious even from the chaos.
I think these moments right here, you can really hurt Miami FC if you are Danny Cruz's boys, because Miami FC, they like to overload. They like to throw a lot of numbers forward and be attack-minded under Antonio Nocerino. So if you can force a turnover, your first pass needs to be forward. So the movement of Adrian Perez, Wilson Harris, and Ray Serrano needs to be really decisive at breaking lines to give an outlet for Lou City.
Antonio Nocerino, head coach here. Just a year where it's been about developing some of the young players. Different players have come and gone. They made a lot of moves. The record is a record. There's no sugarcoating it. It's been a bad year for Miami. Alañez stood up by Elijah Winder, and now it's Ray Serrano.
I had the chance to speak with Antonio Nocerino over the course of this season, and the one message that he continued to relay to me was just he wants his side to play with personality. He wants his side to play with courage, to earn the right to play. So what an opportunity this is, like I said earlier, for Miami FC really to take down the best team in the league, to get their first win on the road. So expect this team, expect Antonio Nocerino to get into his side, to them to be motivated and look for a response.
And look, the E is already next to their name in the standings as this one's driven in. But what can you take from this season that's a building block into the offseason, into next year? Beating the #1 team in the league is something that the younger players on this team will have resonate with them for sure.
Well, let's not forget, Joe, as well, a lot of these players are fighting for contracts.
Absolutely.
Right, Antonio Nocerino, yes, it's a young team, lack of experience, but now how do you showcase yourself to not only the front office of Miami FC, but also Antonio Nocerino, that when 2025 comes around, he wants you and his team.
Here's Adrian Perez. Now down this right side with Manny Perez, who just rejoined Louisville back at the end of August after a brief stint in Denmark. Again, just further bolstering it was an already deep team and position. Aiden McFadden, another option at the outside back position, who's been top-notch this year for Louisville, with Jake Morris now on the left side. So many buttons that can be pushed. Now floated in, settled by Perez on the turn. It's Manny Perez on cue, sneaking up to the top of the formation there. First 5-5 corner kick of the evening for Louisville.
And I really think the wing backs for Lou City are going to be really crucial to their success going forward. Manny Perez on this near side, Jake Morris on that far side. Those runs off the blind side, outside in, can really test Miami FC.
Jansen Wilson has been in that position this year as well, and Danny Cruz pointed to him as one of the unsung heroes as far as players who came in the offseason. A lot of the attention has gone to some of the other acquisitions like Ordonez and more recently Philip Goodrum, but Jansen Wilson, one that he was very happy with, what he's given all season long. Corner from Davila, drops it in, dangerous area, and it's glanced wide. Now, these two teams, again, opposite ends of the spectrum, but mainly in terms of goals and goals conceded. That might be, you'd have to do a lot of digging, one of the widest gaps between goals and goals conceded between two opponents in a single season.
You just see the respect for Antonio Chirino, all 11 players behind the ball, not even 10 minutes in, parking the bus, making life very difficult for Miami FC. So if you're Danny Cruz, you're up for the challenge, because watch out. As you would expect, once the playoffs run around, teams are going to understand.
That ball stayed in. Wilson Harris goes down, but it'll be a corner. Awkward moment there, starting with the pass back and then the spin to keep that ball in play.
And it's been those types of plays for Miami FC that's been a bit shaky and frustrating for Antonio Chirino. It's not tactics, that's not talent, it's just execution. Lack of focus, lack of mentality. And set pieces can be really important for Lou City to get the opening goal here.
Second by-5 corner of the evening. Davila put it into a dangerous spot last time, and he does nearly put it in the same spot again. This time Gagliardi ready for it, got his hands on it, and wants to play quickly. Long toss out towards Sebastian Joseph, but it's right back the other way for Adams. The other thing about this Louisville lineup as well, where you just ask yourself the question, how do we defend it? There's so much interchangeability. You could have Manny and Adrian Perez switch spots. You can have Serrano go to a central position or come to the right and then go left. Anybody can almost play anywhere. There's a few givens. You know that Wilson Harris is going to be up top. You know that Elijah Weiner is going to be in the middle as far as the backbone of this team. Outside of that, a lot of interchangeability makes them unpredictable. And already 3 corners, 10 minutes in. This is going to be a theme. Miami sitting deep, Louisville pressuring them. It's just a matter of forcing Miami to break as they continue to bend.
You've seen the last 2 corner kicks for Lou City. Dive reluctant to go to that near post, excuse me, that far post area.
This time he goes near post and the header's in! They change it up, the result's different, and Sean Tosh puts Louisville in front.
Just mentioned the location that Danny Cruz wanted to hit with his first couple corner kicks was that far post. So now you send everyone far and you allow Sean Tosh to crash towards that near post, slash across his individual marker, Palacios. Does not need to hit it hard, just simply redirect it. Snap over his left shoulder, no chance for Gagliardi, and that's gonna make this game wide open for Lou City as they take an opening lead within the first 11 minutes.
It is his 6th of the season. It's a goal brought to you by Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education, Kentucky Lottery. And this is exactly the response that Danny Cruz was hoping for from the group after last match in that 4-2 win over Memphis. Remember, they were down 2-0 first 20 minutes. And against this Miami team, the floodgates tend to open when they concede that first one. So check that box for Danny Cruz. Got exactly what he wanted out of this group. Remember some of the history at stake tonight. A win would be their 14th home win. It would set the all-time record. They're already tied with that Phoenix Rising 2019 team and 7 others. 13 mark has been popular. Saw Pittsburgh actually do it last year. But the other mark that can fall tonight is the total home goals as well. 51 by that Phoenix team. They're now on 50. So a win tonight, and doing so by scoring 3 goals would set both records here for Louisville. I think Damian Lass was just bored so far. Came out and made that one interesting, so he had something to do.
And these are always interesting, these types of games, if you're Lou City in that back line and Damian Lass, because you're not going to have a lot to do. So mentally, how do you stay tuned into the game? Especially if you are Sharpie, Adams, Tosh, when you're on the ball, you don't want to try to overcomplicate it. Play simple, keep the game moving. That's going to be your best bet for success for Lou City. And for Danny Cruz, you're looking at this game and expect Miami FC to continue to have all 11 players behind the ball. So now, he'll never admit this, but you look at the playoffs right around the corner. Teams, when they come into Lynn Family Stadium, how do you get a result? Make life very difficult and try to make it a little bit of a transitional game. So good teams, the best teams, find a way to win. Good test for Lou City.
And they've been able to do it in different ways this year. They have a lot of those runaway score lines, gaudy score lines, but there's also a lot of workmanlike 1-0s and 2-1s on the schedule this year for Lou City. Most of those 1-0s have actually come on the road, where they've sort of switched up their playing style as Tosh comes in and commits the foul. At home, they're very expansive. They press you. They try to keep the game open in transition. On the road, depending on the size of the field, the opponent, they do change things up. The thing is, they might not have to worry about how they play on the road versus at home, because they're a win tonight and a win on Saturday against Indy 11 for already clinching the fact that the whole postseason would come through Lynn Family Stadium. Here's Danny Barbier, their midseason acquisition from Miami. Up to 17 starts on the season, operating out of this left wing-back role. Trying to funnel it into Sebastian Joseph, the 18-year-old, making his second start of the season. Sean Tosh, the goal scorer, carries it ahead. Off that corner from Davila. It gave him his 7th assist of the season. 7 goals, 7 assists for a player who was first-team All-League last year with RGV. Could very well be on his way again, but you can say that about a lot of the players who have been regulars all season for Louisville. Winder.
Just look at the interchange like you mentioned, Joe. Adrian Perez is about 10 yards from Sean Tosh, and now Manny Perez is on that top line. So you talk about how do you unbalance opponents in their back line, movement off the ball, taking spaces in between lines. That's something that Lou City is fantastic at. It's a nightmare to deal with and defend.
Commonwealth Credit Union. You can learn more about how we can help you meet your financial goals. Visit WeSeeYouDifferently.com. The midfield for Gavilanes, that's who they want to have on the ball. Have not really found him tonight, haven't really had much of the ball so far.
Just see Antonio cheering on the sideline, a bit animated, telling Cardona to keep it simple. Don't try to hit the home run ball. You have Joey Desart in a nice little pocket of space. I think that is an area that if you are Miami FC right in front of Davila and Winder, you can cause some concern and create a little bit of an overload in that central part of the field.
Serrano. Jake Morris. Back for Taylor Davila. Swings one in. It looked like it took a deflection. Did it stay in? No, it did not. He already tried. And it will be out for a Wi-Fi corner. First from this far side. Other 3 came from the near side, including that third one, which led to the Louisville goal.
Tries to keep it inside. Danny Gagliardi about a yard off.
It's the effort that counts.
It's the effort, right?
Let's see. First 2 corners from the near side went far post. Third one came near post and they scored. This one, forget it altogether. They go on the ground. Serrano now goes back post. Perez tries to keep it alive. Could not climb high enough.
It's a very similar type of thought process for Lou City. You try to draw everyone towards that near post with the change of the angle, and then you let Adrian Perez come around the corner. Just a bit too much weight from Ray Serrano. You just see Lou City can really throw in set pieces and how deadly they can be. Watch out for this side going ahead in the 2024 playoffs.
Here's Manny Perez. His second start since rejoining the club at the end of August. 4 appearances in his brief stint in the Danish First Division. Davila. fans, when Lou City wins, you win. This season, Lou City has partnered with Wendy's to give you a small Frosty if the boys in purple win. No purchase necessary. Offer valid the following day after a win. Head to any participating Louisville area Wendy's location to redeem. We're also at that time of the year we've got the pumpkin spice Frosties going.
Fan or no?
Big fan.
Big fan. The right arm of Ray Serrano that comes over Bota, that gets him in trouble. No need. It'd be a bit frustrating for Danny Cruz.
And that is the first bone dry roofing yellow of the match to Serrano. I don't know if it was real, by the way, but I did see today. You always got to try to verify now when you're looking on social media, but it said that Wendy's is partnering with SpongeBob to have like a pineapple flavored Frosty. I think it starts October 8th. So if that's true, I'm all over that too. I'm giving that a try.
Frosty?
Pineapple?
No.
All right.
No.
All right. Don't knock it until you try it.
Chocolate, vanilla, pumpkin now. You can mess with it a little bit.
Strawberry?
Yeah, I can do strawberry.
Right,
but
so
not,
you like the original flavor?
Yeah, original.
You don't want to stray from that.
It's too much.
Okay. Pineapple on pizza, though?
Sometimes.
Okay.
You?
I like it.
Okay. All right.
First foothold here in terms of possession for Miami. There are a couple fouls from Louisville. That press of Louisville's relentless. Look how far back it pushes them. That free kick was taken inside Louisville's half, forced all the way back, and now Louisville swarms and wins it back.
You're just a little bit cleaner from Molina there. Now you have a nice little pocket of space. So I do think, once again, centrally, Miami FC can find a little bit of success. You talked about that high press for Lou City. You bait them out, and then you can find Joey Desart in between lines. If you're Antonio Chirino, you want him and his spacing to be spot on to give you a focal point to play through.
This portion of tonight's match is presented by Toyota and the Kentuckiana Toyota dealers. Back for Tosh. 33 years of age, a fixture here at Louisville since 2017. Lifted both those trophies in 17 and 18. Can this be the year that the drought ends for Louisville? They've been there. They've been to the final. They haven't won it, though, since 18. It's also been a bit of a stretch where the West has dominated. Each of the last 3 titles lifted since the COVID cancellation year, even the one before that when Real Monarchs won it. Perez. So going back to that Louisville title in 2018. Since then, every year a final has been played. It's been a Western Conference team that has won it. Morana. Louisville will be okay with this. Possession for Miami, but nowhere to go. Cardona looking long. Davila. Harris. Perez shipping it back over the top. Serrano ran off the wrong shoulder. Wasn't sure where that ball was going.
It's a good little action. Good interchange from Lou City, turning their defense into offense. If you're Danny Cruz, you want Adrian Perez to maybe be a little bit more selfish. You're about 25 yards out on your preferred left foot. Why not have a go and test Danny Gagliardi?
Comes all the way back again to Damian Las. Clinching any of these records or Players' Shield, not something that has been discussed between Danny Cruz and the players. Among staff, in certain circles, yes, and Danny Cruz himself, he's well aware of it. He wants that 1 seed because he knows what it means. That is not addressed with the players, anything beside how the Memphis game went and how the Miami game should look. That's it. They haven't even looked as far as this weekend against Indy where they can clinch that Players' Shield. As cliche as it is, they're trying to keep it 1 game at a time. Don't want to get distracted, look at the bigger picture, and have any sort of letdown because of it. Just want to keep things going the way they are right now for Louisville. And even this week in training, Danny Cruz pulled the curtain back, and they had their Monday training session, which was the same 11 that they had against Memphis, and that was intended to be the 11 again tonight. Had a subpar training session, brought the group together. He told them this was going to be the 11. you weren't good enough, now it's not, and they made 3 changes after that. So the competitive juices are as high as they can be. They are as driven and focused as they can be, and you've seen it manifest in the results this year.
It's a fantastic way to manage and get the best out of their players, to understand complacency cannot creep in. Because as a player, as a human, you look at the tape when you say, oh, Miami FC is coming to town. They have not won on the road. They've lost 25 games this season. We should take all 3 points so we can take our foot off the glass, not for Lou City.
Here's Winder, end line. Winder in front, but gobbled up by Gagliardi. Check out all the exciting postseason action as the USL playoffs presented by Terminix kick off in November. Top teams will battle it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLChampionship.com for all the latest playoff information. Nothing really to discuss playoff scenario-wise for these 2 teams. Miami eliminated, and Louisville already clinched. The only thing, again, for Louisville, a win tonight and a win on the weekend against their arch rival in the 11 could already wrap up the Players' Shield and the first overall seed in USL Championship before they even play their final 3 matches. Damian Last pressured into a giveaway. Nice touch from Antonio Nocerino.
Still has it.
He never lost it.
Still has it. Outside of the right foot. Bit of class.
These do have to be some of the toughest moments, though, as a coach of his ilk, as a former player, where you're seeing the group struggle like this, and he's got to be itching as if he wanted to get back out there. Limited in what he can do from the technical area, and he can flash a touch like that. Perez, from Manny to Adrian Perez. Adrian Perez weaving inside. Perez goes for goal. It deflected wide. Gagliardi had a beat onto the far post. Once it deflected near post, nothing he could do but watch, but it goes wide.
Talked about him being a little bit more selfish about 5 minutes ago, because he has the individual skill to elude not 1, but 3 Miami FC players. This little chop back right here sends Junior Palacios packing. Has eyes for that far post, give credit to Cardona. Courageous as he steps out, lets the ball hit his body, goes out for yet another corner kick.
This one, much like the first 2, goes back post, and Gagliardi has it handled. He misses it. He was touched. That's why. Thought he might have been touched. It's interesting, though, if that's the case, why no card? And that's exactly what Gagliardi is asking right now. And it is Elijah Winder who picks up that bone-dry roofing yellow card. So Winder and Serrano both in the book now. That's something to keep an eye on, because each of the last 2 losses for Louisville, they've gone down a man, and one thing Danny Cruz has been preaching recently is not having that happen, being more disciplined. There was a conference final a couple of years ago against Tampa Bay where they held on and won, but they were down a man after Corbin Bone was sent off, and they only barely held on. So he knows that that's something that could be their undoing, as it was in their 2 losses against Detroit City and Hartford Athletic. So 2 early yellows were both pretty silly yellows. If there's something from this first 26 minutes to set off Danny Cruz, it's those 2 things.
Yeah, not knowing that, now you would not be surprised if we see Danny Cruz dip into his bench a little bit earlier to try to keep all 11 players on the field. Miami FC having a really difficult time dealing with the pressure from Lou City. We've seen them try to play direct into Joseph, but that's not his game. Obviously, you want him to get on the ball in terms of the combining with both Gavilanes around him. He's not one to battle 50-50 to be that target number 9. So how do you find a little bit more in terms of the rhythm for Miami FC in between lines? Great ball.
Perez drives it.
Just keep talking about how expansive Lou City is. This starts with Adrian Perez, the forward centrally. Now Manny Perez, he's on the top line yet again, just riding the line. Plays out the blind side of Marana. He never sees him. Good action from Lou City.
Davila. Morris from distance. Touched aside by Gagliardi. Another corner coming, really piling up in the early stages.
So now if you are Miami FC, you have to have a balance in the way that you set up defensively. If you continue to give time and space to these Lou City players, they have the quality. From 30, 35 yards in, they have the ability to hit the ball on a rope and force a really good save out of Gagliardi. So now in doing that now, when they pick up their head, Miami FC needs to step up and close down that space.
Another Wi-Fi corner kick. Wi-Fi getting its money's worth tonight in the early stages. Davila. That was already corner number 6 on the evening for Lou City. Perez gets it back from Davila. Danny Perez took deflection. And this one out for another throw as we approach the half-hour mark here at Lynn Family Stadium. Happy to have you with us this evening alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. What's at stake tonight for Louisville? They can set the USL Championship single-season home wins and home goals record. The win gets them to 14, and the record, they would need to score 2 goals to tie the goals record, 3 to beat it. So it could be the first of what could be a couple of records that Louisville takes down this year. And maybe more importantly in their eyes, that's what it means in their quest for the overall #1 seed. A win tonight and a win on the weekend, and they already wrapped the Shield up this week. And again, talking with Danny Cruz about what that means, in his eyes, we'll never know. We'll never know because chips fell the way they did. Last year on the road against Charleston Conference Final, they lose. 2022 USL Final on the road against San Antonio, they lose. He feels they win both of those games if they're at home. And that has been the message all season long. Make sure all roads lead through Lynn Family Stadium, where again, they could be 14-1 through 15 matches at the end of the night. So you understand where he's coming from. When they play here, they don't typically lose here. So that's what's at stake. They have that 1-0 lead on the Sean Tosh goal. That came back in the 11th minute. And a goal kick on the way.
We haven't seen a lot of action on that far end for Lou City between Ray Serrano and Jake Morris. But when they do, they're very direct in their movement. Ray Serrano likes to come centrally and likes to combine with whether it's Davila, Winder, Wilson Harris. So that leaves a lot of real estate for Jake Morris to work up and down that far end.
And just a reminder, some of those other records we're talking about here. Again, a win tonight sets the home wins record. All these records, by the way, held by that 2019 Phoenix Rising side. Home goals, Phoenix that year, 51. Louisville right now at 50. And Phoenix had 78 points, 24 wins, 89 goals. Louisville coming into tonight 13 points away with 5 games to play, within reach. They came in 3 wins away. It could be 2 at the end of the night. They give it away here. Battling around the ball. Palacios is taken away. Perez goes for goal, and it's saved by Gagliardi. And the last of those, the total goals again, Phoenix 89, Louisville 15 away. So they're on pace to get within 2 goals. They're on pace to get within 2 points. They need 3 wins to tie the wins. Everything is within reach here.
Just see a little bit of a shift in mentality for Lou City, understanding if we press high, we can cause some problems for Miami FC. And yet again, you recover the ball. Miami FC having a really difficult time with their spacing, especially Joey Desart and Junior Palacios. Both players are operating the same area of the field. You want to play on different planes. So in doing that, now you really test the shape between Davila and Winder. If one goes, the other one stays. But as they're both flat, now it plays, watch out here.
Tosh falls, picked up by Joseph. First time into the box tonight for Miami. Joseph, he's denied by a terrific tackle from Manny Perez. That is their first entry into Louisville's 18-yard box. It comes through in the 33rd minute, and that's a concern right now for Louisville.
Talking about Lou City not getting complacent in their structure, especially throughout the back. And you see Manny Perez, he seems to be under some pain. No rotation between Sharpie and Tosh. As Tosh engages in that initial ball, now the responsibility comes from Manny Perez. And you can see on the back end of it, seems like his boot gets caught in the ground when he leaves his feet to pick the pocket of Joseph. It's going to drive Danny Cruz a little bit crazy. Looking back on film, as shown, Sean Tosh elects to engage in that initial challenge. Now Sharpie needs to provide coverage. He needs to be a little bit deeper. It's too easy for Miami FC to get into their attacking 18-yard box.
We talked earlier about the depth of this Louisville squad. That is one of the positions where they have a ton of depth at outside back. Jansen Wilson could slot in there. Aiden McFadden could slot in there. We've seen at times Sam Gleedle double in that position if need be. And it will be McFadden who goes ahead and starts warming up. We haven't shown you the replay up close from the injury because it's not the best looking one. There's a lot of concern right now for Manny Perez. That right ankle, it's been writhing in pain. Ankle bent in a way it probably shouldn't. He tried to get up and walk it off and it immediately gave out. And they're already making that change right now. Aiden McFadden for Manny Perez. Well, that's one of the things you don't want to see right now if you're Louisville. Coming down the stretch here, going into the postseason, anybody go down. Silver lining, it's a deep team. You can really, Ricky, if you go player by player, put out a second 11 for this Louisville side. That would probably finish somewhere in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference, I'd wager. And Aiden McFadden started a large portion of the season. Changed when Manny Perez came back in. This is going to be appearance number 25 for Aiden McFadden. Started 19 of those with 4 goals and 5 assists. Former MLS draft pick by Atlanta back in 2021. More than capable replacement who, again, until recently had not been the replacement, had been the starter. And Perez still in the same spot that we left him in. Gives Danny Cruz an opportunity to bring the players over. Same thing for Antonio Nocerino. It's time to see him help to his feet, but putting absolutely no weight on that right leg. Trying to, but just have to rely on the support here. You see, every couple of steps he's trying to put that right foot down, but immediately just brings it back into the air. Difficult position to be in, and I hate to see anything like this happen, especially this close to the postseason for any player on any team. Anything change with McFadden coming in, or simply like for like?
I think it's going to be like for like. He's going to slot into that wing back position. 4 goals, 5 assists on the season for Aiden McFadden. But through about 30 minutes of this game, Manny Perez and Adrian Perez created a nice little relationship and causing all sorts of problems for Marana. Hopefully, Manny Perez is okay, and we wish him nothing but the best in terms of his health. It's a big part of what Lou City likes to do. Danny McFadden, quality coming off the bench as well for Danny Cruz.
Antonio Nocerino over to greet Manny Perez as he walks over. Show of class from the Miami manager. After the long layoff, get back to it now. McFadden nods it along. Harris nods it down. McFadden right into the game. McFadden gives it away. Was kept in by Sebastian Joseph. And McFadden tracks him down. Now they are going to confer the assistant referee and say it was out for a throw. See lengthy bit of stoppage time here in this first half. And welcome to the fans watching this game on WBKI, the official broadcast home for Louisville City FC. Free kick coming. Bolañez gets caught with his foot in the cookie jar.
Adrian Perez just so technically sound. Spent some time in the indoor game, so very comfortable in tight spaces. Left footer playing on the right-hand side, so always wants to challenge into the interior. No need for Gavillanes to try to win the ball. He has a lot of teammates in and around him. And yet again, we saw from a very similar location, Davila try to squeak it into that near post. I do think this will be lofted to the back post, especially with the oncoming traffic.
Fifth Third Bank free kick. Serrano or Davila? It is once again Davila. This time drives it in, the header off target from Wilson Harris. Haven't called his name a ton yet. That was his first really good look.
Slashing across your individual marker is the top priority when the ball's wide, because you get the right body angle. Then you just need to help the ball on. Get clean contact on it. Wilson Harris unable to time it and get underneath the ball. Those are the ones that a striker you just wanted to skim off the back of your head and guide it into that far post. But if Wilson Harris does find the score sheet here today, it's going to be with his movement in around that 18-yard box. Miami FC clogging the central part of the field, so now a lot of the balls are going to be whipped in from wide parts. So what does his movement look like off of the shoulder of Cardona and Knutson?
Pressure closing in again now from Louisville, almost taken away from Barbier by Perez. It's back the other way now. Knutson, Barbier. You can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches, including the USL Championship final, will be available in Spanish throughout the rest of the season. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Here's Serrano. A bit of a lapse in concentration from Serrano. This is where I'd ask you, Ricky, what's Miami's path back into this one? But it's so difficult to assess on a night like this because of the gap between these two teams in terms of the quality and just the personnel, everything that goes with it. Miami is fine when they can keep you 0-0 and drag it out, but conceding so early, it's been a lot of this, and it hasn't produced any results.
I think it's the spacing, first and foremost, for this Miami FC side. Too many players are occupying the same part of the field. Moments ago, Morano comes centrally. He's about a 5-yard pass from both of that. Now, if you're Lou City, you have one player that can take out two players of the game. It makes life very easy for the defensive structure for Danny Cruz. So I go back to Joey Desart and Junior Palacios. I think that's going to be the key, because if you can find them a line higher, then you can play in Joseph, because he's shown he can produce a little bit of magic.
See the final third entries there, now 35-7 for Louisville. The game has been entirely played at this end. McFadden, service, bounces all the way through. Morris tries to get something on the half bike, half volley, and goes down looking for a penalty. Referee says play on. Miami tries to get out in transition. That's the night in a nutshell so far.
The second part of my explanation for this Miami FC side, but as this ball comes in, you just see Jake Morris not really committing to the bike. Goes down a bit easy, nothing in that. Molina does just enough to throw him off and not give him the ability to get the overhead kick. But if you are Miami FC, yes, in possession, how do you break in between lines? But also in transition, you have to connect that first pass out of the back.
Serrano for Davila, has it on his preferred left foot. Thought about a strike, cuts back to his right, lays it off for Morris. Never afraid to shoot from distance. Jake Morris lets this one fly, denied by Gagliardi. I dare you to find a more confident player in USL Championship when it comes to lining it up from distance than Jake Morris. It's chopped through for Wilson Harris, tries to cut it back for McFadden, now gets it there. McFadden chips it, out with by Miami.
Fantastic strike from Jake Morris. We saw Davila score a very similar location on the weekend. But as his ball comes in, I think Gagliardi sees it late. A lot of bodies in front of him, parries it back into traffic.
Anya's calling for it. Just a little bit too much on the hesitation. And closed down by Kyle Adams.
Just too slow from, gotta be honest, to make a decision. Joey Desart makes a fantastic run, beating Aiden McFadden, so you need to play him a little bit earlier if you are the Miami FC attacker.
Approaching stoppage time, which again could be lofty considering that Manny Perez injury. McFadden. I mean, this is a broad question, but going back to that Jake Morris shot, can you think of anybody off the top of your head who's more keen to strike from distance than Jake Morris when he has a sliver of space?
I mean, the only player that comes to mind in USL Championship,
yeah,
Hackshaw of Oakland.
True. Good shout. Neville Hackshaw has never met a shot he didn't like as a center back.
Can't blame them. Center back, you don't get a lot of opportunities.
That's true.
So if you do, you got to make them count.
Jake Morris has had more opportunities this year as a wing back, though. And he's made a few count himself. Morris with 4 goals on the season. One of his best came from distance against Detroit City in a thumping here at Lynn Family Stadium. Five minutes of stoppage time here in the first half, brought to you by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Adams. Winder. Now Morris driving one in. I don't think that one was a shot, to be fair. All we've talked up about him having his goes from distance, I think that was a mishit cross.
He's going to see a lot of the ball, him and Aiden McFadden, from their wing back position. Because what's going to happen as Miami FC is dropping deep now, Lou City can really build out in a 3-back system, Adam, Sharpie, and Tosh, because they're going to have a numerical advantage as Joseph is the only player that's staying high. So that allows Jake Morris, Aiden McFadden to pop onto that front line. Ray Serrano and Adrian Perez will play a little bit more central and connected underneath Wilson Harris. So now when those wingbacks get on the ball in the final third, how clean can they be, and technically, but also in their decision-making to pick out the right pass?
McFadden intercepts here. It's Davila. Some of those deeper statistics, aside from just the shots that are 8-0 right now in Louisville's favor. We've got 16 touches in Miami's 18-yard box. Meanwhile, Miami has 2 touches in Louisville's box. Final third entries are 37-9. The groundskeepers that come out and do some work at halftime here will have only half the work to do. The match has been played entirely at this end. Here's Desart. That's a highly touted young player in the Nashville organization playing at Huntsville City. As this year, Joey Desart come over. He made 9 starts now for Miami FC. Gavilanes floating over to the left side now, and mainly been on the right. Cardona. Two more minutes of stoppage time in this first half. The first half controlled by Louisville on a night where they can set the USL Championship all-time single-season home wins record at 14. They're tied with 8 other teams right now on 13. And they can also set the home single-season goals record. That number is 51. Phoenix Rising in 2019. Louisville currently sits at 50. Chipped over the top by Joseph. He wanted the free kick. Referee did not oblige. Here's Morris. Winder. He's on a yellow already, Elijah Winder. This is what Danny Cruz is talking about, keeping the cool, being disciplined. He drew the foul, but it was that extra shove after the play from Winder. Quickly taken free kick. Morris, right before halftime, can they find another? Not there. This will be a Miami throw. Anything you change with the break if you're Danny Cruz, or content with what you've seen through the first 45?
I don't think you change anything, but if you do, you're looking at Ray Serrano and Elijah Winder, both players that are on a yellow card. And Philip Goodrum, bring him in as well. His hardworking, his selfless runs that he can pull out. Center backs open up space for his teammates. Might be a nice little shout for Danny Cruz, but you're looking at this game, the way that it's gone through the first 50 minutes here. It's a lot of been playing wide, balls into the dangerous area. So now, especially if you are Jake Morris or Aiden McFadden, you're going to see a lot of success. So bypassing that initial pressure into the weak side is going to be important for Lou City.
It's a 1-0 lead for Louisville City on the goal by Sean Tosh back in the 11th minute, his 6th of the season. They dominated that first half, but only have the 1 goal to show for it. On a night where Miami FC is looking for a signature result of their own, and what has otherwise been a wayward season, trying to play spoiler for Louisville, not going to plan so far on the road. Beautiful night as the USL Championship regular season finally enters October. Louisville City FC with a 1-0 lead on Miami FC. More to come. Stick with us.
When the Thompsons first bought their house, all they saw was their dream home. They didn't yet know that with a home equity line of credit from Commonwealth Credit Union, it would be their keys to epic cannonballs and the chance to see the world. As years went by, it allowed them to empower the next generation and make happily ever after come true. Which begs the question, what could your home be doing for you? Let's find out together. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
Hey, now that I have you on here, let me have the rest of the WDRB Mornings team.
Good. Everyone is here. We have a big announcement.
WDRB's own Lindsay Allen joins our morning team starting this week.
I am so happy to be part of the team to bring you all local news all morning long.
Friday is WDRB Plus game night.
Yeah, you can watch Trinity or Christian Academy's home football game live on WDRB Plus. You can also watch it on demand by downloading the WDRB Plus app.
Stream Trinity versus Cincinnati St. Xavier or Cal versus LaRue County, October 4th, live on WDRB Plus.
TV's biggest game show is back, and it's even bigger.
This is not the same floor.
Now, 100 players will duel.
Taylor Swift songs.
If they want to rule.
Love, together, haze.
Light it up!
The Floor, all new tonight on Fox.
When it comes to all-wheel drive vehicles, nobody gives you more to choose from than Toyota.
With 25 different choices that'll have you ready for anything, including the new all-hybrid best-selling Camry, the adventurous best-selling RAV4, the best-selling, more powerful Tacoma,
and the return of the legendary Toyota Land Cruiser.
all come with the traction you need for confident driving.
Any road, any weather. Toyota all-wheel drive.
The more you know, the more you'll drive Toyota.
Let's go places.
At the break here at Lynn Family Stadium, it is Louisville ahead 1-0 on Miami FC on a night where they can set the single-season home wins record in USL Championship. They're also getting closer and closer to a number of other records: total wins, total points, total goals. And Ricky, this is the schedule ahead for Lou City. The question is a simple one. The answer might not be so simple. Can they do it?
I think they can. I mean, you look at Indy, at San Antonio, who's been struggling as well, Tampa Bay and Phoenix. A lot of these teams, yes, you look on paper and you say, wow, look, these are the golden standard of USL. They're really talented sides, but as the reality, Phoenix Rising, they've been struggling. San Antonio's not the same San Antonio side that we've seen. Tampa Bay's been a bit inconsistent, as well as Indy 11. I do think if you're Danny Cruz, you want to get through this next 45 minutes, and then it's a massive game. It's a rivalry game at Indy 11, and no better way to get the shield next time out.
And as far as the points and wins records go with that schedule, if this result holds, a win against Miami, they would be 10 points away and 2 wins away with 4 games to go. So both very much within reach. And here's a look at the overall picture now, the live playoff bracket in USL Championship. Louisville up top. They would host Loudoun, and all roads would lead through Lynn Family Stadium. You've also got Mexico United in first place, clinched a berth in the West. Charleston has clinched this week. The next couple of weeks, we're going to see a lot more X's on this board.
It's going to be really interesting because you look at the playoff line, how tight it is for both of these conferences. But if the playoffs did start today, I mean, if you're going to pick up one game on the Western Conference, I'm looking at Sac and Phoenix. That's a really interesting one. And Detroit City in Rhode Island at Keyworth, that's a juicy one as well.
That would be a terrific environment. And 2 teams who have already met on CBS this year. Earlier, it was that 1-1 draw, so they get a little rematch of that one as well. We've got more to come here from Lynn Family Stadium. It is $2 hot dog night, by the way, so hope everybody is indulging properly. 1-0 lead for Lou City, trying to take home that home wins record.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Flavors, the same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador, spiked bebidas.
Centra bien el balón dentro del área. ¡Hombre, es el segundo! La combinación es buena. Se canta el 1-1 de Nocando. ¡No te puedo creer! Increíble, Felipe. Y señoras y señores, la USL Championship.
Mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
The wandering son returns. The older brother, who's been away from the family for over 1,000 days, is back. A little bolder, more sophisticated, stronger yet leaner. The all-new Land Cruiser resumes its place alongside the new, more dynamic Tacoma, the powerful Tundra, the legendary 4Runner, and the full-size adventuring Sequoia to reunite Toyota's 5 brothers. The family that plays together stays together. Toyota, let's go places.
Louisville City scored 1 goal in the first half, and this fine gentleman scored 1 chicken wing into a wheelbarrow. Is that what we're thinking this is? Is that a ham? I have no idea what that is, but it looks fun, and he was good at it on the first try at least. So he made his first. Louisville converted their first goal in that first half. And on a more serious note, this team can clinch the Players' Shield this week with a win tonight and on the weekend against Miami. And that Las Vegas team, they are different this year, and they can put a stamp on it.
Dark horse for me in the Western Conference, especially what Dennis Sanchez has been able to do. And they go into Danny Stone in Orange County, a side that's been struggling in their own right. But Hugo Faru, what a result that was for Loudoun at Colorado Springs. El Medcar gets the tying goal. Fantastic result for Loudoun United.
We've seen a couple of goalkeeper assists this year. We saw a goalkeeper goal earlier this year. So goalkeepers getting on the score sheet and not only preventing the goals here in 2024. We'll see if there's any more of those fun moments this upcoming weekend as we take a look around the schedule. Next up is Friday night. Sneaky big one in the Western Conference playoff race. Phoenix above the line. Monterey Bay struggling and trying to tread water right now. Gotta have a game for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one. Both teams are struggling in terms of their form, but also unable to find the back of the net. Charleston battered Detroit City. Detroit City, big 3 points at Monterey Bay. And for Danny Dicchio, how good can they be at Keyworth? So at home playoff game is really important for the Detroit City side. Hartford Athletic, Loudoun United, another big one in the Eastern Conference, right around that playoff line. And then Rhode Island, they welcome Tampa Bay. Connor Smith has been fantastic in their inaugural season.
It's interesting. You got Miami and Pittsburgh there as well. Pittsburgh obviously hoping to beat Miami, and then rooting for tie. Another game you mentioned between Hartford and Loudoun. So Pittsburgh themselves can get above that playoff line in the East. Now in the West, again, you've got your pick of the litter here. All these have some sort of importance. Orange County battling for their lives. San Antonio battling for their lives. Same goes for Tulsa. Roots are trying to sneak up into a top 4 seed still as they take on Memphis, one of their direct competitors from above. All of that coming all weekend long here in the USL Championship. We've got 45 more minutes to come here. That fan was not old enough to see the last time Lou City lifted a trophy here in USL Championship, but maybe they are a step closer to a shield tonight, leading Miami 1-0.
When it comes to all-wheel drive vehicles, nobody gives you more to choose from than Toyota.
With 25 different choices that'll have you ready for anything, including the new all-hybrid best-selling Camry, the adventurous best-selling RAV4, the best-selling, more powerful Tacoma,
and the return of the legendary Toyota Land Cruiser.
All come with the traction you need for confident driving.
Any road, any weather. Toyota all-wheel drive.
The more you know, the more you'll drive Toyota.
Let's go places.
At Typical Insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the third health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong, I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I finally feel in control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The wandering son returns. The older brother, who's been away from the family for over 1,000 days, is back. A little bolder, more sophisticated, stronger yet leaner. The all-new Land Cruiser resumes its place alongside the new, more dynamic Tacoma, the powerful Tundra, the legendary 4Runner, and the full-size adventuring Sequoia to reunite Toyota's 5 brothers. The family that plays together stays together. Toyota, let's go places.
Strong tackle by Adams, who gets involved in the attack. Taken towards goal. Oh my word, what a hit!
And now an opportunity on the other side. That shot is put in the left side of the net.
Rodriguez directing traffic. Oh, lovely little touch by Murphy. Shot is lined up. Oh, it's a magnificent finish.
Taking it at goal and finds the back of the net.
Players making their way back out onto the field here at Lynn Family Stadium as we are set to play half number 2. But first, a look back at half number 1 with our highlights, and most of them that you're going to see, probably all of them actually, depending on what our staff has cooked up on the Louisville end of the field here, because they dominated that first half from the opening whistle to the closing whistle.
All 11 players for Miami FC were behind the ball, so set pieces were always going to play a really important part. Fantastic run from Sean Tosh, but if you're Junior Palacios, you cannot give him that time and space. About 6 yards out, he understands that don't need to hit it hard, just simply redirect it. 1-0, Lou City, nothing that Gagliardi can do, and like you said, Joe, it was all one-way traffic for the home side. I thought Adrian Perez and Manny Perez were fantastic at understanding the spaces to pick up, and then this is just pure individual ability to make not one, but 3 players miss from Miami FC, unable to find that far post. Takes a wicked deflection near of Danny Gagliardi's near post.
And that was until Manny Perez left with an injury replaced by Aiden McFadden. They had another chance here on another free kick from Davila, but Wilson Harris flicks it wide.
Talked about Wilson Harris. If he wants to find a goal in this match, it's all about his movement in and around that 18-yard box. And what does the service look like against him? Because there was times in that first half that Lou City were unable to find the weak side, whether it was Aiden McFadden or Jake Morris. How do you figure out that had unbalanced this back line for Miami FC?
And there you have it. I had mentioned, unless our production staff cooked up a Miami highlight, there was a couple of trips down the other end, but you can see there are no shots. There was nothing to speak of offensively in that first half for Miami FC. The only time they really got end line and had a chance was that brilliant tackle put in by Manny Perez that injured him and took him out of the game. Outside of that, the entire match played at the other end of the field. One change to get you out of the break, and it will be Jansen Wilson replacing Adrian Perez on the Louisville City side. So that Perez battery down the right side to start the night is officially out. Manny injured, Adrian subbed off. It'll be Miami left to right in the orange, Louisville right to left in the purple. And we're underway in half number 2. Glad to have you with us this evening with MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin and Joe Malfa. Jansen Wilson in for Adrian Perez. Substitution brought to you by Fortna.
Bit of an interesting sub for Danny Cruz. I thought Adrian Perez was really good in that first 45 minutes. The ability to beat players individually, but now you get Jansen Wilson on that right-hand side. He gives you verticality, a little bit more of a direct threat, so look for him to run in behind and hopes to open up space for Wilson Harris.
You wonder if that was predetermined on the sub by Louisville, or because they had to burn a substitution window in the first half, that Danny Cruz want to capitalize on making one of those changes at the break. Here's Kyle Adams. Over the top for Wilson Harris, and gathered by Gagliardi. This portion of tonight's match is presented by Toyota and the Kentuckiana Toyota dealers. Early foul goes against Miami. Part of the difference in that first half was Louisville just saw the lion's share of possession, around 60% of it, and a lot of the possession that Miami enjoyed was just playing around the back and not finding a way through that Louisville press. Miami's going to have to find more of a foothold with the ball if they're going to find any way back into this game.
And once again, it comes to Junior Palacios and Joey Desart. Their balance and how comfortable and clean on the ball can they be when they do recover possession.
This one recovered by Winder, who's on a yellow. So is Ray Serrano, the 2 yellows to remember from that first half.
When I talk about balance between the two, especially in possession, you want Joey Desart more times often than not off the shoulder of Taylor Davila and Elijah Winder. Then you let Junior Palacios be that single pivot.
Here is Davila going for goal on his less preferred foot. It's interesting, a couple of times tonight he's looked like he wanted to take that shot on the left foot, but then cut it right into his weaker foot.
Coming off a brace against Memphis 901 last time out, scored 2 fantastic goals. The second one, a very similar location. Bar down, unable to get it on target, but how good has he been for Danny Cruz and Lou City? One of, if not the best center midfielder in all of USL Championship.
JC Ngando and a healthy Aaron Malloy would like a word, but it's certainly in that conversation.
I said one of. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's no need for Joey Desart and Junior Palacios to be 20 yards away from their defending goal. Now you're just asking for Lou City to be a little bit more compact and clog these passing lanes. When you're in possession, you want to be as expansive as possible, make the field as wide and as deep as possible. When those two players are that close, results in this, Lou City recovering the ball yet again.
The way things have gone tonight, goal kicks have almost been a set piece for Louisville with how quickly they've won it back from Miami. Now Serrano plays it in. Harris tried to get a touch to it. Kevin already got his finger on that. It wasn't necessary. Tried to keep it in, but almost conceded a corner. Antonio Nocerino committed to building out of the back, but on nights like this, you just have to find a different way maybe. It doesn't seem like there's any way through this Louisville press. To be fair, they go long now, and it's the same result in the end.
But as you have 4 in the back or three across the back, whatever you want to call it in terms of the fluidity that we've seen from this Miami FC side, now you can play wide. You can also play wide in between Molina and Danny Barbier. Have them a line higher to really release the pressure that they've been under. Just don't have really the confidence, it seems like, for Miami FC to break through Lou City.
Down by Aiden McFadden. Winder was calling for it. It's back for Davila. Slided through for Jansen Wilson. Now Wilson Harris. Poked away by Palacios. Good bit of defensive effort. Haven't been tested, Louisville, on the defensive end, but you know they want a second just to put this completely out of reach and not give Miami any life. That was something that Danny Cruz spoke about. Just once you, quote-unquote, snatch their soul for this Miami FC side, those are the nights where you've seen the lopsided score lines against a team that's conceded 71 times. If you go game by game, 71 goals scored. It's not like they've conceded the same average per game. There's 5 here, then it's 1. There's 6 here, then it's 1. It's all or nothing, really, with this team. If you break them down, get a couple, then the wheels fall off, is the way Danny Cruz put it. Wheels haven't fallen off yet. At some point, on the flip side, Miami is also going to have to come further out of their shell. They haven't abandoned their style just because they're down 1-0, and at some point they will. Morris. Davila slips it through for Wilson Harris. And out for the first Wi-Fi corner kick of the second half.
Just so quick. Taylor Davila is understanding where the space is as he leads this ball. Now he's asking Wilson Harris just to run onto it. It's one touch out of his body, a second into his space. We give credit to the Cardona, like for like, with Wilson Harris.
Scored their goal in the first half off a corner. It was Sean Tosh in the 11th. Floated to the back post where had Jansen Wilson waiting. And he already sends it long. Joseph can't handle it. Gavilanes calling for it. Knutson. Avalanez. Desart.
It's not like a broken record, Joe, but look at all of these orange jerseys. They're all 5 yards apart. They want to be a little bit more expansive. Junior Palacios, Joey Desart, both in the center location of the circle. Have one as a single pivot, the other one as a true number 10 underneath Joseph. Because if you do play a little bit direct, yes, you won't win the initial ball, but now you have more numbers to win that second ball. And yet again, you're just inviting numbers for Lou City to slow the game down. You win the initial ball, and there's no one in about a 20-yard radius to even challenge for the secondary ball.
Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest specials, products, and more. I'll float it in over Serrano. Tosh cuts it off. And all the way back to Damian Las. That might only be his third touch of the game. And one of those touches was his goal kick. So it's not been a busy night for Damian Las. Serrano. Louisville's had a few of those this year. Save-less clean sheets for the goalkeepers. McFadden, end line, drives it centrally. I think Serrano took it away from being a goal, unintentionally in the end. Couldn't tell with the spin on it if it was going to go in or go wide. Settled, Jensen Wilson, fake the volley, now out to McFadden. Wilson wants it back. Still McFadden went for the ceiling and instead got the crowd.
Really patient build-up from Lou City. The ball circulation, and you leave Aiden McFadden to go 1v1, knows exactly what he's going to do. Marana gets caught, his hips are squared, and that's a no-no for a defender. But I do think Ray Serrano just outruns it. Unable to meet the ball and just tap it in, going back the other way. Just look at the secondary movement of Jansen Wilson right now. Just roll it into his path, let him run onto it. Really well done for Aiden McFadden, a good idea. Now he uses the momentum to his favor, send Barana down to the end line, and creates a little bit of space. Unable to get it on target.
Yeah, on second look there, that ball was certainly going wide. Thought initially that Ray Serrano incidentally prevented it from being a goal. Not the case, but another instance of Louisville knocking on the door for another. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, you can hear live matches from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Gonna have to send in a fan question to Mike Watson, Devin Kerr this week. Want to get their take on it as well. We got it from you at halftime. Will Louisville set these records? If this result holds, they'll need 10 points from their final 4 matches. Do the math, that's at least 3 wins and a tie. And as far as the wins go, they'll just need to win 2 of their final 4 matches to tie that wins record. See a booking here. It'll be Sebastian Joseph. Brought to you by Bone Dry Roofing.
The left arm that gets him in trouble for the youngster for Miami FC. But he's been bright, especially in a game like this. Just watch as he gets his body position facing forward. That right there, left arm, catches Jake Morris. That's going to get you in trouble when you have it extended away from your body that high. But for a team in Miami FC that hasn't seen a lot of the ball, he's shown some confidence and willingness to go at this Lou City back line. Elijah Winder needs to be really careful now. It's the second time that Botes fouled him. Continue to jaw at the player. No need to get anything off the ball. Well, that discipline that Danny Cruz mentioned to us on our phone call comes into play.
Nice turn from Winder. Elijah Winder has options, lays it off for Davila. Davila on his left foot, it's blocked. Ball was over the line. Still just a 1-0 match, doesn't feel that way. Louisville been in control every step of the way. It's felt more of a matter of when that second or more comes than anything else. Miami still without a shot as we approach the hour mark. Barbier brought down by Wilson Harris. Barbier was a fixture for the Oakland Roots last year. From there goes to Indy onto Miami. He's been a really strong defender every step of the way in this league. It's been interesting to see him grow in this sort of wingback role for Miami. Started playing it a bit last year with Oakland, was prior to that a center back by trade. At his size, I mean, any coach wants to put that size centrally, but he has that element to his game where he's good with the ball, good getting forward. Really a wing back and a center back's body, Danny Barbier. Flicked on in the space for Molina. His first touch leads him now to Gavilanes from distance. There is the first shot of the night for Miami.
The longer that this thing stays 1-0, the message for Antonio Chirino to his side is to stay sturdy in the back and compact in the back. And it just takes one moment to draw this thing even. First time that we see this Miami FC side try to break a line through their passing range of Cardona. Nice little flick on around the corner from Bota. And it falls to the player that you want, Alan Gavilanes, unable to get it on target. But don't think it's any coincidence that we see Antonio Chirino make this sub in the center of the park. Genzano's going to give you a little bit more freedom going forward. Joe Desart will be that single pivot now, a little bit deeper. So you have more numbers in the attacking third. And hopefully find more success through the build-out phase of the game.
That sub brought to you by Fortuna, first of the evening for Miami FC. Kyle Adams carries ahead. Serrano calling for it.
Great turn.
Out wide to Jansen Wilson. Wants to give and go with McFadden. Turns inside instead. Serrano goes for goal. Was off balance.
Start on one side of the field, you end on the other for Lou City. That's a way that you could break down this mid to low block, but now you need a trailing run. First it's Ray Serrano asking for the ball, now Elijah Winder. Just roll into his path. Let him run onto it. Very similar in the goal that he scored against Memphis 9-1. Picking and choosing your times from a central location is so important when to draw in the attack.
Jansen Wilson looking for Serrano.
See the difference now. Joey Desart is the only player deeper. Now they can come out this other way. It's a minor change in terms of the tactics for Antonio Chirino. It makes a world of a difference.
Advanced ENT ahead of the curve, relief around the corner, serving Louisville, Central Kentucky, and Southern Indiana. Are you surprised with Louisville in the attacking end, maybe not showing some of the urgency and willingness to be expansive that we see in other matches? Is it a case of just coasting against a Miami team like this?
I think it's what Antonio Chirino set out. You get all 11 players behind the ball. That's one of the hardest things to do in football. Watch out here.
Nice give and go, Gavilanes, and he curled it just wide. A warning shot there for Louisville, and what is still a one-goal game despite the one-sided dominance can go away the lead just like that.
Finding some more success because there's some numbers in a higher area. Davila and Elijah Winder both get beat, get caught ball watching. And Gavilanes sends Damian Law scrambling towards his near post.
Sometimes that's the sort of wake-up call a team needs to go and press for a second when it's only a one-goal game. See if Louisville heeds that warning. Beyond the hour mark now. Happy to have you with us this evening with Ricky Lopez-Espin and Joe Malfa. If it stands, Louisville sets the all-time single-season home wins record at 14. 8 previous teams got to 13, but no further. Gavilanes is the man down now. Referee Thomas Steiner calling for the trainers to come out. Time to remind you that eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball free to play. Download now. Gavilanes, a player who has worked his way from USL League One into USL Championship, and as he's risen from that third-tier league to this second-tier league, has really adapted to the level and been a bright spot this year for Miami. Danny Cruz bringing 3 members of his back line over for a word. Been a pretty quiet night for that group, but tested moments ago by Miami in what is still a one-goal game.
You have to think the messaging is in the attacking phase through Jake Morris, Kyle Adams. On the other side, McFadden and Shantosh. Circulating the ball to the weak side, but do it very quickly. There's a way that you can break through this Miami FC side, because a couple times that you've done it, you have found success.
Time out, that 4-2 win for Louisville over Memphis. It was their response from the 2-1 loss against Detroit City. They've done well all year in responding from their losses. They rattled off a 4-game winning streak after they lost against Hartford. It was a 5-game winning streak after they lost to the Oakland Roots. They've responded with lengthy winning streaks after each loss this season. That has been one of the things Danny Cruz has been most proud of. Years past, last year they fought to make the playoffs, and it wasn't a typical Louisville year, but even back in 2022, when they were chasing the top of the table, still were periods of the year where they switched off and had a couple of matches in a row, be it a mixture of draws and losses, where it was a quote-unquote winless streak. Even though performances might not have been bad, they haven't had any of those this year where they strung together back-to-back losses or multiple losses and draws, any combination. They've responded from every loss with a victory here in 2024. Well, that just goes back to the different mentality that Danny Cruz thinks this group has exhibited than past years. Just a different commitment, a different drive to go ahead and put that star above the crest after it has been so long now for Louisville. And it's interesting that it's such a new group as well. He pulled the curtain back for us a little while back and because there were so many new faces who maybe weren't in tune with the history of the club, they essentially put together a PowerPoint at the beginning of the year explaining the history and the trophies and everything that came with it so they could understand it and buy into it all, and they have. It'll be Alejandro Mitrano replacing Dalton Knutson on the Miami side. That'll be all for Wilson Harris on the Louisville side. A quiet night for him. Philip Goodrum replaces, and Jake Morris will be replaced by Sam Gleadle.
It's a really difficult game if you are Wilson Harris to get any sort of service, because as you just play as a lone striker, you're always going to have 2 or 3 Miami FC players around you. So the service into you is going to be limited. That's when you have those selfless types of runs to open up space for teammates. I think that's what Danny Cruz is going to expect of Philip Goodrum, making those runs down the channel to really test Veterano Cardona to open up a space for whether it's Jansen Wilson or Ray Serrano.
Battling for it here, McFadden. Now Gleadle. Gleadle's come in as the right wing back. Jansen Wilson gone to left wing back. Now it's Winder. Tosh. Louisville still looking for a second to put this one away. Tosh directing traffic. Davila overran it. Giving away to Joseph, who gives it right back with a heavy touch. Some of the naivety there of the 18-year-old. Eyes wide open after that giveaway, wanting to go with it. Gives it back instead. Bit rushed. Serrano. Putting in, it's Jansen Wilson. Now Ray Serrano. Goodrum going east to west. Goodrum tried to sneak it back near post.
Well done from Philip Goodrum, but notice this run from Ray Serrano down to the corner. That's the type of selfless running that I'm talking about. He pulls out a play with him, so now that affords Philip Goodrum to create his own space on the top of the 18-yard box, pulls it wide, but good action from the sub.
Philip Goodrum, maybe the biggest get mid-season in all of USL Championship this year. Maybe I'll drop the word maybe from that. He is the biggest mid-season acquisition in USL Championship this year. Coming over from Tulsa. Louisville acquired him for what was a record intra-league transfer fee. You just look at the players that have subbed in tonight for Louisville. Aiden McFadden, Sam Gleadle, Jansen Wilson, Philip Goodrum. That is 4 out of a starting 11 if you want to form another second unit for this Louisville side.
Just going back to that point that you made about this Lou City side.
Gavilanes tries from distance again. It's twice now that he's gotten in that area, let it fly and tested Damian Laz.
He's playing now as the true number 10 underneath Joseph. We talked about him in the open, a special play for Miami FC if he gets a service in the areas of the field that he wants to operate in, right off the shoulder of Davila and Elijah Winder. About the 3rd time that we've seen Gavilanes pull the trigger, unable to really test Damian Laz. Just going back to your point about this Lou City side, you talked about the reaction, not letting those 1 defeats turn into 2, turns into 3 in the mentality. I also think you have to talk about how talented they are and how deep they are.
No doubt.
They don't have the opportunity.
Goodrum delivering. A lot of that, to your point, is even in some instances where they do rotate from game to game to keep legs fresh, or if they do lose and shake up the lineup a bit, they're not losing any quality. Over the top from Serrano to McFadden, squared back, and Goodrum! Clinical from Louisville for Philip Goodrum. It's another tally in purple. It's 7 on the season.
Fantastic bit of play from Lou City yet again. You start on one side of the field, you end on the other. Is a way that you can break through this mid to low block, but it all comes down to the movement of Philip Goodrum. As his ball goes to the byline, Mitrano gets caught ball watching, so just watch his secondary movement. Well done from Andy McFadden as well to cut back. Starts essentially, pops off at the last second. Mitrano just never sees him, and then it's just a simple redirect. Back across where it came from, catches Danny Gagliardi flat-footed in the blink of an eye. Lou City doubled their lead here at home.
'27-year-old Philip Goodrum adds some more to the fun here. That goal brought to you by Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education. Kentucky Lottery. Acquired back on August 14th. A player who last year with Tulsa had 12 goals. Before that, in 2022 with Memphis, 21 goals. A thorn in Louisville's side going back to that 2022 season. Philip Goodrum now doing it for Louisville. And they want more now. Saved by Gagliardi, the rebound off the bar. And Ray Serrano will have nightmares about that one from now through Halloween.
Exactly what Danny Cruz mentioned on our phone call. You get that secondary goal. Now things start to open up. You let Sam Guido go at this back line a bit more direct. And it's the second time that we've seen Gagliardi parry this ball into a traffic area. Just comes too quick for Ray Serrano to settle his feet. Now you have to ask the question. You don't need to swing at it. Just let it hit. You run through it, and you find the back of the net, and you give Lou City a 3-0 lead. It's going to sound weird to say, but I do think Ray Serrano tries too hard to redirect this ball.
And it's interesting, too. Again, every conversation we have with Danny Cruz this year, it's trying to take things with a grain of salt, and it's really nitpicky at times because you can't complain too much about a team who is, again, going to set or come close to setting all kinds of records. But one of his complaints this year with this group, still not ruthless enough and not finishing enough, which is greedy to say for a team that may well set the goals record in USL Championship. But it's moments like that where they still leave a lot on the table despite how successful they've been. And they do tie another record with that goal, by the way. You've got, of course, the all-time home wins record in a single season that we've talked about. It's 13 with 8 teams tied. As it stands, this will be their 14th home win and set that record. Also, the home goals single season record. It was 51, set by Phoenix Rising in 2019. Louisville has just tied that. So one more tonight, and both records fall tonight. If they don't set the goals record tonight, they'll have 2 more opportunities as they will host down the stretch Tampa Bay and Phoenix Rising. Louisville 2024 ticket packages still available. Lou City's next home match, October 12th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring your family, bring your friends to Lynn Family Stadium when the boys in purple face the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Tickets available at loucity.com/tickets. What a rivalry that has been in recent years. Louisville, Tampa Bay. It's felt like every year it's been those teams in the Eastern Conference Final until last year when Charleston ruined that stretch and made it in against Louisville. Here's Luisinho, just subbed on, chips it, and dealt with. Over the top again toward Luisinho. Adams knocks it away. Luisinho for Desart. Kind of run into each other. And it's muscled away by Elijah Winder who draws the foul. Fans, you can head to Twitter to vote on tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match. Poll will be open for the next 10 minutes. Vote now at twitter.com/LouCity. And they will make their final Fortnite substitution of the evening. Dylan Maris replacing Taylor Davila. Down the stretch here, the USL Championship will be on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus, and go to USLChampionship.com for the complete TV listings. Nice touch by Winder. Still with it in his space, showing that quality, Elijah Winder. Serrano. Winder plays it through, contact there, and it almost troubles Gagliardi. It will, after all that, just be a goal kick.
And these are the types of runs that you can expect from Philip Goodrum. Just so clever. And the way that he operates in around that 18-yard box. Starts wide, tries to come across Alejandro Mitrano. You can only imagine for the remaining 10+ here, he's going to try to get his little bit of revenge. Philip Goodrum never want to shy away from any physical battles.
Winder, again a soft touch. Goodrum threading it through for Galito, saved by Gagliardi. Cheeky little toe poke from Galito. It's all he can muster up given the space and time he had, or lack thereof. Serrano, 10 to play. More contact in the area. Very workmanlike from Louisville tonight. Only allowed 2 shots the other way. 1 on target. 2 goals at this end. Could be more. Maybe should be more. And that's one thing that Danny Cruz will probably harp on. Galito. That's it back. Galito floats it in. There was a bit of your revenge from Philip Goodrum. He just knocked over Mitrano and told him to get up. Fortunate that it didn't negate the attack for Louisville and get called for the foul. Goodrum again guarded by Mitrano. He wants to go at him if he can. Now he serves the ball instead. Jansen Wilson's there. Gagliardi makes the stop.
When Philip Goodrum walked over this white line, he talked about his work rate. The ability to run towards the corner flags, to really be a handful and a nightmare to deal with. That's the type of number 9 that you need when you're playing against a mid to low block, because now you afford players from secondary positions to really occupy the goal mouth. Philip Goodrum, his quality coming out within the first 15 minutes since stepping onto this field.
One back by Louisville. They've got the numbers here, 4-on-3. Orchestrated by Galito. Feeds Serrano, wants it back. Serrano goes at it himself, and it's the exclamation point for Louisville City.
Sloppy from Miami FC, and then look how quickly they make this a transitional meet. Give credit to Gleedle, the patience to pick up his head, and as he continues his run, that asks Danny Barbier to come over. Cardona gets a little bit lazical in the way that he does not step out of Ford's race around the time to take his first touch out of his body, pick up his head, and a player of that quality, 11 yards out, places the ball exactly where he wants it. No chance for Gagliardi. Third goal for Lou City.
On a night where, with a win, they were going to set one record, that being the single season home wins record, which they clearly have in hand now. They set another. That right there, their 52nd home goal of the season. That also topples 2019 Phoenix Rising in what has been a historic season so far and is shaping up to be a very massive historical season for Lou City. Two more records fall tonight. The first one that they achieved this year was a 10th consecutive postseason berth. That tied the record of the Charleston Battery. They could break that record, obviously, next season, Louisville. But from a single season record standpoint, first two of what could be a few to fall. As far as keeping pace with some of the records they're trying to topple, the all-time goals record, they were 15 away with 5 games to play. You got to average 3 goals per game. They get 3 tonight. So they continue to keep pace with that. Johnson Wilson shielding it off. It's Elijah Winder. Winder. There is one more record, by the way, I haven't mentioned tonight. It is probably the most difficult one for Louisville to achieve, though possible. The points per game mark, 34 has not always been the number in USL Championship as far as games played. So points per game, Orlando City back in 2012, 2.38 points per game. For Louisville to best that, they have to win all their remaining matches starting tonight. Try from distance here, it's wide. So check the box for tonight. They would have to go 4-0 the rest of the way if they wanted to break that Orlando mark as well. So a lot of the targets are obviously that 2019 Phoenix Rising team, but there is that other one in the background. They'd have to be perfect the rest of the way, drop no points in order to set the points per game record. And the man of the match winner is Sean Tosh. For your vote at home, scored the opening goal tonight on the header. As it stands, would be the game-winning goal. Your man of the match, Sean Tosh. We can maybe have a little friendly wager on the side. Let's say, looking at the points, looking at the wins, looking at the goals. Points per game we'll put aside. It's very difficult going unbeaten the rest of the way. The points target, 78. They got to pick up 10 more in the final 4 games. Yes or no?
Yes.
Agreed. The wins record. They need 2 wins from their final 4.
Yes.
Well, if you think they're going to get the points, that means you think they're going to get the wins. Agreed. Yes. The goals record, they're 12 away as it stands with 4 games to play.
That's where I have a bit of an issue.
I hate that we agree on all of those. I was hoping for a friendly wager, but we're 3 for 3 in agreeing. I'm with you. No on that one as well.
Be really difficult.
Especially with the teams that they play. Yeah. Granted, the Indy matchup, when these teams met earlier in the year, they put in 5, Louisville, in a high-scoring affair. But Tampa Bay, San Antonio, Phoenix, all teams who typically defend well. Scoring 12 in the final 4 would be difficult. Maybe they could lessen that number here, though, as Goodrum sneaking through. All right, since we agree on all those, points per game?
No.
All right, same. I was hoping maybe for a different one, but all in agreement. Well, the only question Danny Cruz would care about is, do they win the title when all is said and done? We mentioned it in the Open, showing you that side-by-side comparison of this Lou City team and that 2019 Phoenix Rising team. And Danny Cruz quick to point out that Phoenix Rising team did not win at all. We had a laugh, and the 2007 Patriots were invoked as well, 16-0, but lose the Super Bowl to the Giants. Nobody remembers the records if you don't win the trophy. It's great to have all those records to accompany a trophy and talk about how historically great that team is, but if you don't win the trophy, it doesn't matter all that much, at least in their eyes, and probably the eyes of the fans as well. As fun as this season has been here at home at Lynn Family Stadium for these fans, they don't put a third star above the crest. I know it's lofty goals, but it's a standard that's been set at this organization.
I think you ask every single team in USL Championship, their first meeting, first day of preseason, what were the goals? Not one of them said we need to break records.
No.
Whether it was the goals, whether it was the points, home wins, whatever it may be. But I'll tell you, every single one of those teams said we wanted to win the USL Championship. So I do think you look at Danny Cruz and the way that he's been able to do it thus far. Right, to not let the boys get complacent with the success that they've had. And that just speaks volumes about the manager that he is. Getting the best out of his players every single time when they walk over the white line, home or away. It's been a fantastic season, but yet they just want more.
And you could see the reason why this week on social media his name made the rounds in links to some MLS jobs. And what he's managed to do. Interestingly enough, the main job that it was linked to this week is St. Louis City, currently head coach on the interim basis by John Hackworth, the man who Danny Cruz replaced here in Louisville. '90th minute at Lynn Family Stadium. Five minutes of stoppage time brought to you by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Sometimes one of the most difficult things to do as a team is take care of the quote-unquote easy ones. Trap games, maybe you play down to the level of your opponent. Louisville does not fall into that trap tonight against last place Miami.
You look at this performance, the word that comes to my mind is the patience from Lou City. Because yes, you get that opening goal, and that was always going to be a key for Danny Cruz, because as we've seen in 2024, the opening goal for Miami FC, that's when they started to get expanded. It was actually the opposite. They got all the other players behind the ball, made life really difficult. So it tells me that Antonio Chirino was looking for one moment, whether it was a set piece, whether it was a free kick, to get that thing tied evenly. But yet, Lou City, they never wavered. They stayed true to their game plan, their identity. I don't know if but it was a matter of when the opportunity arises and would they take their chance. So Goodjum does just that. It's a fantastic resultant performance and of experience for Lou City.
Fun night in the Estopan LN. It's been really every night this season. And they've been here at home, except the one blip on the radar, that crazy loss to Rhode Island. Only home loss of the season for Louisville. From here, Louisville will this weekend visit Indy 11. And with tonight's result, all they need is a win in that game. And then with 3 to play beyond it, they would have already wrapped up the overall 1 seed and the Players' Shield. After that third goal went in, the urgency kind of went down as well for Louisville. Job done. Get out of here healthy. No additional yellows, no additional reds. Miami to close out the string here. Will host Pittsburgh this weekend, a big one in the playoff race. Really, they can impact the playoff race by playing spoiler in every other game left. It's home against Pittsburgh. It's at Detroit City. It's home to Rhode Island on decision day. 3 teams in their own various battles. Pittsburgh and Rhode Island at the playoff line. Detroit City jockeying for seeding. So they will still have a role yet to play, Miami, if they can spoil things for anybody. But they won't spoil the night here tonight for Louisville. Winder. The only blemish tonight for Louisville is losing Manny Perez to injury back in the first half, and there was some concern there. Could not put any pressure on that right leg as he left. Outside of that, there is really nothing tonight. If you're Danny Cruz, well, I take that back. Danny Cruz is always going to find something, but there's nothing if you're a fan coming out of this one tonight that you'll be unhappy with.
More importantly, Danny Cruz learns that his side has found a way to win when teams, quote-unquote, start to park the bus.
Absolutely.
Right, whether it was set pieces, the ball moving quick in between lines, players being clinical with their movements, but also on the ball. And that is the makeup of a team that has championship aspirations. Things get difficult when teams start to throw a little bit of adversity at you and make life very difficult. How do you see beyond that?
And there is the final whistle in what could be a record-setting season for Louisville City on a number of different levels. They take home their first 2 records tonight. Most single-season home wins, most single-season home goals, and a 3-0 workmanlike victory over Miami FC.
Patient, mature, professional from Lou City. Took a little bit longer than they expected, but in the end, the quality came without. They took their goals extremely well, and they were fantastic in the back.
And with that Lou City win, you can head to any participating Louisville area Wendy's tomorrow and get your free small Frosty. No purchase necessary. Ricky, not a fan of the pumpkin or the pineapple, but you can see whatever flavor you want. It'll be free at your local Wendy's after this Lou City win. And with that, your move of the match brought to you by Toyota. Could have really chosen a number of different ones here tonight for this group. We go with this one.
First is the decision-making from Aiden McFadden as he gets to the byline. Where's the space about 6 yards out? And the second part of that is a movement from Philip Goodrum. As a number 9, how do you create your own space? How do you play off the blind side? Last second, just pop off the shoulder of Matrano. Fantastic goal for Philip Goodrum.
And tonight's game resulted in a Kroger clean sheet. 0 goals, 0 hunger, 0 waste. Damian Las, he did have to make a save tonight. There have been a few saveless clean sheets this season for Louisville. This not one of them. He only had 1 rather simple save to make, but another Kroger clean sheet for the boys in purple. Now we're back to wrap things up in just a moment from Lynn Family Stadium on a record-setting night for Lou City FC. Final score brought to you by Gorski Injury Law.
So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
At Typical Insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the 3rd health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong, I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I'm finally feeling control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
When it comes to all-wheel drive vehicles, nobody gives you more to choose from than Toyota.
With 25 different choices that'll have you ready for anything, including the new all-hybrid best-selling Camry, the adventurous best-selling RAV4, the best-selling, more powerful Tacoma.
And the return of the legendary Toyota Land Cruiser.
All come with the traction you need for confident driving.
Any road, any weather. Toyota all-wheel drive.
The more you know, the more you'll drive Toyota.
Let's go places.
Postgame presented to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. A 3-0 victory tonight for Lou City FC. It started with Sean Tosh's opening goal. From there, Philip Goodrum put one in, and Ray Serrano supplied the exclamation point, that record-setting home 52nd goal this season for Lou City. Take you back now to the highlights. It started in that 11th minute with the Tosh goal.
It starts with the spacing for Lou City. Everyone crashes at far post, so that allows Sean Tosh to slash across his individual marker, beats Junior Palacios to the spot. Fantastic delivery, even better header. 1-0, Lou City. And yet again, in the second half, the game really changed when Miami FC started to play with one single pivot, because now you have forward Alan Gavillanes to go and impact the game in higher locations. You can see how good he is, but unable to really put it on target and really test Damien Loss.
From that point on, it seemed like the message was received from Louisville to go for it and get that second goal, and ended after a couple of chances for Miami to tie at 1, and that's exactly what they did.
I thought Philip Goodrum was fantastic with his work rate, the ability to understand the spaces in between the lines and play off of his teammates. Ray Serrano makes his run down the channel, so that opens up centrally for Philip Goodrum. Just pulls it a little bit wide, but he will have his say in this game, and it starts with the change of the point of attack. Yet again, Ray Serrano was fantastic in this game. A.D. McFadden had to come in a little bit earlier than probably expected because Manny Perez gets injured. Good idea to cut it back, but all comes down about the movement from Philip Goodrum. As a number 9, how do you play off the blind side, slash across, and pop out the last second? No chance for Mitrano, no chance for Gagliardi. He doubles the lead.
And then from that point on, nothing really to speak of from Miami. It's turned over in the midfield, 4-on-3, and Serrano calls his own number.
Composure and patience from Sam Guido, but as he continues his run around the corner, that opens up this little window, because there's confusion between Barbier and Cardona. Who's going to step up? And in that little hesitation, Serrano has the first touch out of his body. Fantastic look here. 3-0 gets his goal, and Lou City take all 3 points.
And that's how things would finish tonight. One more look at the standings here in USL Championship. With that, Lou City goes 9 points clear now. Rookie with a win this weekend against their rival in the 11. They will clinch the Players' Shield, and all roads will lead through Lynn Family Stadium.
I think, yes, that's going to be a talking point, but more importantly, it's a rivalry, right? Danny Cruz and in the 11, Lou City, all of that comes involved. He's going to have his side up and motivated against this game. There is going to be a little bit of rivalry in all that sense, but if you're Lou City, how do you take the momentum out of this 3-0 win against Miami FC?
That'll do it for us tonight from Lynn Family Stadium. Louisville sets the single-season home wins and home goals record in USL Championship. Final score brought to you by Gorski Law Office. A 3-0 win for the boys in purple. For the crew that makes this possible, broadcast partner Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malva saying so long for now. It's Louisville 3, Miami nothing. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.